Alright, what's up everybody? It's your boy Akeem and welcome to today's second blog. Here to round off my top 10 fantasy running backs for the 2014 NFL season. I'm going to start things off at number 10. I'm going to go with Reggie Bush from the Detroit Lions. Now this kid posted over 1,500 yards, a great season, along with Joique Bell, who's had over 500 yards receiving last season as well. First running backs who have over 500 yards rushing and 500 yards of receiving in a tandem together combined. I think this is a great tandem overall. But Reggie Bush, even though he is splitting carries with Bell, Reggie Bush should still get a nice chunk of carries and give you some well-rounded fantasy points. At number 9, I'm going to go with Le'Veon Bell out of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, even though they did sign up LeGarrette Blount from the New England Patriots, I still think that this is Le'Veon Bell's position, and he's definitely going to get the bulk of the carries, and he did show some great sprouts last season, had over 800 yards rushing last year, along with 160 points in 13 games, and I think that's some good points in just 13 games, so let's just see what he will do throughout an entire season, possibly crack the top 10. At number 8, I'm going to go with DeMarco Murray out of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, he had a solid season, with over 1,100 yards rushing, and 53 receptions for 350 yards. So he is definitely a good pass-catching receiver at the running back position, but hopefully he can get more receiving yards, more than 350 and 53 receptions. I think he should definitely get at least 40 receptions this season, possibly for over 400 yards, at least try to get 10 yards per reception. I think he's a big-time threat, and that's why his actually yards per catch is actually a little bit lower than expected, because a lot of defense do key on him and respect him as a player, and I think he would definitely make another top 10 pick at another top 10 season in fantasy points overall. At number 7, I'm going to go with Arian Foster out of the Houston Texans. Now, in just 7 games, he had 81 points, but he did miss the remainder of the season due to a knee injury, so he's definitely going to have to come back, and a lot of people are concerned about him, but we all seen his recent history, like Jamal Charles, Adrian Peterson, Darrelle Revis. All 3 of these players actually had torn ACLs and made a great comeback the following season, including Darrelle Revis. Now, he didn't make the season. He didn't have such the big season like he had back as a New York Jet, but he still made it to the Pro Bowl in 2013. And we already know about Adrian Peterson and Jamal Charles, tremendous comebacks, and both those 2 players made the Pro Bowl for their respective teams. And I think that this could be the same for Arian Foster and his patented dead leg, in which he has great cutback ability. I think he will be just fine, and I think he's a well-rounded player, receiving the ball out of the backfield and running the football. He's definitely going to have to carry a lot of the load on the offense, particularly because they have a new quarterback in Ryan Fitzpatrick, as well as with their draft pick, Todd Savage. Hopefully things will pan out at quarterback for him. At number 6, I'm going to go with Eddie Lacy from the Green Bay Packers. He was the Offensive Rookie of the Year last season, and he's definitely going to be due for more touches this season, and he could possibly make it to the top 5, if not the top 3 this year. He has a lot of potential, but even though Aaron Rodgers will be back, he's definitely going to throw the football around, but he doesn't have to work too hard and carry too much of a load, because he has a great running back behind him in Eddie Lacy. At number 5, I'm going to go with Marshawn Lynch from the Seattle Seahawks. Beast mode, that's what you call him. 1,257 yards rushing last season and 12 touchdowns. Now, even though Christian Michael, the backup running back, has been getting a lot of notoriety, and people are concerned about the carries for Marshawn Lynch given towards Christian Michael, I still think Marshawn Lynch is still going to be the man. He's still going to get the bulk of the carries. He's going to still get a lot of the carries, but even though Christian Michael will get some looks, but we all know about Christian Michael's history. He's been dealing with a lot of knee injuries throughout his college career, so we don't really know how well it's going to be performed at the National Football ranks when he gets more carries, and we're a little bit concerned for Christian Michael. But I think that Marshawn Lynch would get a lot of the load in at running back and give you some valuable points. At number 4, I'm going to go with Matt Forte for the Chicago Bears. Now, he had his best season yet, rushing and receiving overall, 1,339 yards rushing, also with over 500 yards receiving, over 1,900 yards of total offense, and 12 touchdowns. He's definitely going to get a lot of touches this season, and he's definitely been showing that he's a valuable selection, and he's actually living up so far to his contract of $8 million per season. At number 3, I'm going to go with Adrian Peterson from the Minnesota Vikings. 1,266 yards last season and 10 touchdowns. I think he's definitely going to be due for at least a 1,200-yard season. I believe more of a 1,300-yard season. Now, last season he was 7th overall in points, and he also had 171 yards receiving, but I think he's going to get more receiving yards. Now, he needs to take the pressure off of Teddy Bridgewater at the quarterback position, so that means he's going to have to deal with a more bigger workload at running back, and that's why I believe that Adrian Peterson belongs in this list at number 3. At number 2, I'm going to go with the 2nd overall best running back last season in fantasy play, LaShawn McCoy out of the Philadelphia Eagles. He led the league in both rushing and yards from scrimmage, and I think he's going to be well in effect at running back this season behind Nick Foles, who I even have him as one of my top 20 quarterbacks in what you saw yesterday. And at number 1, this was a no-brainer for me, Jamal Charles from the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, he's a tremendous running back, and we all know about the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs still has not looked for a receiver to work along with Dwayne Bowe, which means Jamal Charles is going to have to carry the load. He led the team in receiving and rushing last season, and I'm not sure he's going to do the same this year in receiving yards, but he's definitely going to get the well-rounded rushing yards and possibly have another MVP season. He was the most valuable player in fantasy play last season, and according to the AP poll, and that's why he's my number 1 guy. Now, I still have to talk about my sleeper and my bust this season. For my sleeper, a lot of people actually have a rookie for their sleeper at running back this season. Same with me, but I'm going to have to go with a different rookie. A lot of people are going with Jeremy. I've been reading a lot of articles and a lot of on scout reports on Jeremy Hill out of LSU, now playing for the Cincinnati Bengals. People are actually looking at him as a sleeper at running back, as well as Terrence West out of the Cleveland Browns. But I have another rookie running back that I have my eyes on, Devontae Freeman out of the Atlanta Falcons. Now, hear me out. We all know about Jacquizz Rodgers as well as Steven Jackson. But both these players combined average 3.5 yards per carry. Plus, Steven Jackson is 31 years old. We don't really know how much is left in the tank. He missed a lot of last season due to injuries, and we don't know how he will play up to par this year. And this is a great opportunity for Freeman because he weighs 208 pounds at 5'8". He's very low on gravity, with center of gravity very low to the ground. He could definitely duck his shoulder, and he rushed for over 1,000 yards for the national champion Florida State Seminoles this past season in college football, and I think that he could be a great sleeper at running back. That's why I have him as my sleeper. Now, the player that I believe that could be the bust this year at running back, this was a little bit of a concern for me, and I might actually have to go with Zach Stacy from the St. Louis Rams. Now, I believe that he's a great running back, and I have him as my number 12 overall running back headed towards this season, but I'm a little bit concerned because of the pickup of Trey Mason coming from this past season's draft. And Zach Stacy did rush for just under 1,000 yards, and he showed a lot of potential, but I'm just a little bit concerned because more and more teams are keen on Zach Stacy and studying Zach Stacy, and probably going to be focused more on Stacy, even though the return of Sam Bradford can help benefit Zach Stacy. But even with Bradford coming back, I'm still a little bit concerned, especially with the signing of Trey Mason. He's a good downhill runner, and he definitely works well reading blocks, especially due to the fact that the St. Louis Rams also selected with their first pick Greg Robinson, coming from the same school as Trey Mason from the University of Auburn. So they already have a well-built relationship between a running back and a tackle. And this particular running back, and Trey Mason works really well reading between the gaps and understanding what holes that he needs to cut through. He's a great running back, and that is exactly why I have Zach Stacy as the running back, who I believe has the potential of becoming a bust this season. But I still think he should be selected at least within the first 4 rounds of this year's NFL fantasy draft, around rounds 3 and 4 for this year's draft. That's where I project them this season. Now, the next time I'm actually going to catch you guys will be on Friday, where I will present to you my top 20 tight ends headed towards the 2014 NFL Fantasy League. Thank you for watching today's blogs from Pro Football Exclusive. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.